And I want to bring in now Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu of California. He's a member of the House Intelligence Committee joining us now. Sir, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Brianna.
You just heard your Republican colleague Gowdy and also Speaker Ryan saying Congress is now going to get involved in oversight of the Rob Porter matter, in oversight of security clearances here. How significant is that to you?
That's significant. I welcome the investigation. And let me say, prior to getting elected to Congress, I went through 2 security clearance investigations. I held 2 security clearances. And for those of us who understand the sanctity of the process, it's very demoralizing to see the White House make a mockery of the security clearance process. There's no way Rob Porter should have had a security clearance when they found out last summer. He should have been terminated and had a security clearance stripped. There's no reason Jared Kushner should still be on an interim security clearance. And there's no reason 30 to 40 people should still be on interim security clearances.
You have written a letter to the FBI director saying as much, talking about your concerns with the number of Trump administration officials who are operating without that permanent security clearance. What do you want the FBI to do?
I'd like the FBI to provide greater transparency, to let us know what is actually happening. It's a black box right now. We don't know how they're doing these clearances, what information they've given to the White House. We get conflicting accounts from the FBI and from the White House. It's also one reason I introduced legislation today with Ranking Member Jerry Nadler on Judiciary Committee. I'm on the Judiciary Committee, as well as Ranking Member Cummings of Oversight. And it would require the White House to provide every 3 months information on who has security clearances, who's on interim security clearances, and if it's over a year, they have to explain why.
So what would that mean then? What would you expect to, for instance, get information about when it comes to senior White House officials like Jared Kushner, who you mentioned, who is working on Mideast peace and a lot of other important national security issues?
Jared Kushner is a unique issue. He is a very important person, right? He is the son-in-law of the president. If he can't get a security clearance by now, after over a year, that points to all sorts of red flags. It's not an FBI personnel issue. It's not that they lack resources. It's that they see something in Jared's background that either makes him susceptible to blackmail or that he can't be trusted. And those are really large red flags.
You think that it means he's not going to get the clearance. He's not going to get the permanent clearance because he should be high priority.
Absolutely. He should have had a permanent clearance last year. There's public reporting that he's not expected to get one, perhaps at all. And it's not a lack of resources. They're seeing something in Jared Kushner's actions or background that they don't want to give him a permanent security clearance.
The White House is now pointing to the personnel office, saying it didn't get the FBI's information about Rob Porter to top White House officials. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah. We don't really know if we can believe the White House because they tell you one thing and then they contradict themselves the second day. That's why we introduced this legislation, which I believe can get bipartisan support. It's just reporting. We just want the White House to be transparent. And keep in mind, the president has said that he wants to support transparency. So we look forward to getting this bill into law, and then the American public can know what's actually happening in the White House.
Do you think the Chief of Staff, John Kelly, needs to resign?
Absolutely. He is a 4-star Marine general who would have gone through multiple security clearance investigations himself to get security clearances. He understands the sanctity of this process, which is to prevent people from having access to classified information if they can't be trusted or could be blackmailed, and for him to allow really this entire process to be questioned and to give people these security clearances who shouldn't have them. That is not something that we want in our Chief of Staff, and I do believe he should step down.
You are a member of the Intel Committee. I want to ask you about the Democratic rebuttal to the Nunes memo, the Democratic memo. Republican Congressman Chris Stewart told CNN that the FBI wants 47 changes. Is that your understanding?
So I'm on the Judiciary Committee, but we have co-oversight over FISA as well as the FBI. So I've read the Democratic memo multiple times, and I simply disagree that there's anything in there that would endanger national security.
But is that your understanding that there's 47 changes? Do you know that? I'm just wondering if you've heard of that, because your Republican colleague has said that's the case.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true or not. I do know that my Republican colleague Justin Amash has also said that the Democratic memo in full should be released.
Okay, so Okay, so he said that in full it should be released, but it seems that there are some changes for sure that are wanted. We've heard from Adam Schiff, who is the top Democrat in charge of this memo, that he doesn't want things. Basically, what he wants is if there are going to be redactions, he wants redactions. He doesn't want to go back and rewrite it and revise it. So that would then mean that a memo gets released with a lot of blanked out space over those several pages, right?
It shouldn't have a lot of blanked out space because having read the memo, there is not information in there, in my opinion, that would reveal sources or methods.
But if the FBI says so, what do you think?
Again, we're hearing this secondhand. Keep in mind, President Trump overrode the FBI's objections in releasing the Nunes memo. Not clear why all of a sudden he thinks that the FBI objections to the Democratic memo are any more important. But I think it's up to the White House to do the redactions if they want to. But I don't think there really should be any. I think they're trying to play partisan politics because what the Democratic memo shows is it puts out facts about what actually happened, and they directly contradict the Nunes memo, and they show that the president is not at all vindicated whatsoever in this Russia investigation.